Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. There are small moments that often seem trivial, yet they can make the entire fan world pause for a second. Just a faint voice, just a brief glance, but enough to ignite millions of speculations and curiosity. And this time, all eyes are once again on Jungkook, because behind his simple live stream, there was something surprising, something that made fans believe. Jimin was there. There are certain moments that, though simple, have the power to shake the entire fandom. Something that may look small, a faint voice, a fleeting glance, or even the slightest smile, can turn into sparks that ignite people's imagination and emotions. And recently, that moment returned once again through Jungkook's livestream. That night, Jungkook sat comfortably at home. Calmly, he spoke with fans, answered questions, and let millions of people see him in such a familiar, homely setting. Nothing extraordinary, at least at first. Just Jungkook with his calmness, talking as though he was chatting with close friends. But behind that calm, a small detail appeared, a detail strong enough to make the fandom stop in its tracks. In the background of the live, a voice was heard. Brief, faint, but unmistakably clear to ears already accustomed to it. For many, that voice belonged to none other than Jimin. Of course, some tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a sound from outside, maybe part of the music, or just a coincidence. But for those who know Jimin's voice well, who have memorized it from thousands of recordings, songs, and stage moments, there was not a shred of doubt. It was Jimin. And honestly, why should that feel strange? Jimin and Jungkook have long been known for their close bond, a relationship that goes beyond the cameras and big stages. They're not just group members, not just two people spending time together because of work. There's something deeper, something that feels so natural when they're together. For Jimin, being at Jungkook's house isn't unusual. It's almost a habit, something that comes naturally, unquestioned. Fans have long known they always find ways to meet, to spend time together, even amid busy schedules. There are memories engraved in the fandom's collective memory, Jungkook's old house, for instance. He often showed corners of his home, and on several occasions, Jimin's presence was nearly impossible to hide. One detail most often talked about was the mattresses on the floor. For some, that was nothing more than ordinary interior detail. But for others, it was a symbol of togetherness, of comfort. They didn't need a fancy sofa or an elegant guest room. Just mattresses on the floor, a simple space where two people could lie side by side, share silence, and enjoy moments beyond words. Back to the recent livestream, the thing that made fans pause wasn't just the mysterious voice, but also Jungkook's subtle reaction afterward. Quickly, he glanced to the side. The movement was smooth, not obvious, but enough to spark big questions. He seemed to be responding to someone off camera. That look, accompanied by a slight change in his expression, was enough for many to whisper in their hearts, "That must be Jimin." Can it be proven? Of course not. But it is precisely this uncertainty that makes the moment so captivating. It opens space for speculation, for imagination, for every fan who has been watching detail after detail. And for them, coincidences like this are far too hard to dismiss. But it wasn't just the voice that fueled the discussion. During the live, Jungkook casually mentioned something seemingly trivial. Almost all of his clothes are black. A short comment, but it instantly triggered fans' collective memory. Not long ago, Jimin was seen folding clothes, black clothes, to be exact. Coincidence? Maybe. But for those who know how to read subtle hints, this was a puzzle piece that fit perfectly. Jungkook casually mentioning his wardrobe, while the image of Jimin folding similar clothes was still fresh in fans' minds. It felt like a glimpse into the domestic life of a couple sharing not just space, but routines. This wasn't the first time. For years, Jungkook and Jimin have shown a closeness that cannot be faked. From protective gestures in crowds to glances only the two of them understand, every little piece builds into a bigger mosaic called their relationship. And every new detail, no matter how small, only strengthens the belief that it's more than friendship. Of course, not everyone agrees. Some try to divert attention by bringing up Taehyung, reminding people that Jungkook once did a livestream with him. As if one moment could erase years of bond built between Jungkook and Jimin. Yet, that familiar voice, so distinctly Jimin, returned in this live stream, pulling the focus back to him. For many, Jimin's presence in Jungkook's home, even just as a faint voice, is silent proof. They don't need to be seen on camera together. A voice, a small glance, a coincidence with clothes, that's already enough to form a stronger narrative than any explicit statement. Some fans even speculate that one day, Jimin might post something on social media that, intentionally or not, reveals he's at Jungkook's home. Maybe a simple photo in a room, or a small background detail fans would instantly recognize. This wouldn't be unprecedented. Many times before, similarities in rooms and objects convinced fans they shared more than the public could see. Adding to the mystery, during the livestream Jungkook even gave a small house tour. Something rare, since he usually guards his private space. For some, this was just casual. But for others, it felt like a sign, as if he was setting the stage for the next moment, leaving hints for those attentive enough to notice. When put together, these details form a pattern that's hard to ignore. Jimin's voice, the black clothes, the floor mattresses, Jungkook's glance, all are pieces of a bigger story. A story of two people who, behind the spotlight, find comfort in each other. And this is what fascinates so many. Because in the end, what makes this bond so captivating isn't rumors or theories, but what they themselves show. They may never clearly define their relationship in words, but their actions speak volumes. On stage, they move as if connected by an invisible thread. One reaches, the other responds. One smiles, the other laughs. And off stage, they share the simplest things, doing laundry, resting on the floor, or simply talking in the quiet of a room. For fans, this is proof. Proof that the bond is real, natural, and impossible to fake. Proof that behind all the spotlights, they are just two people who have found a home in each other. And maybe that's why every faint voice, every fleeting glance, and every little coincidence can make the world stop for a moment. Because those aren't just details. They're pieces of a bigger story written long ago by Jimin and Jungkook. A story of closeness, trust, and love that, though never spoken outright, always feels real in every moment they share. Was that voice really Jimin's? Or just coincidence? We may never know for sure. But perhaps that's what makes Jimin and Jungkook's bond so special. Always full of mystery, full of small details that make hearts race. Because sometimes, love and closeness don't need to be announced in words. They live in fleeting glances, in faint voices, and in simple moments that can never be faked. Thank you for watching Jikook Moments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more moments that will always keep us curious.